Hello, I'm Carla McLaren, and I'm the author of The Art of Empathy, a complete guide to life's most essential skill. And I'm asked a lot, there's a lot of confusion about what empathy is. I'm asked a lot, what is empathy? What's the difference between empathy and sympathy? Some people think that there are people who don't have empathy, and some people think that empathy is a psychic skill or a paranormal skill. And so there's a tremendous amount of confusion about it. Some people also call it a soft skill, as if it's unimportant. When I looked at the amount of confusion there was about empathy, I decided that it was time to really get into the research and find out what empathy is, not only from the point of view of researchers, but also from the point of view of me. I am what's called a hyper-empath. And that means someone who is sensitive to all sorts of inputs like emotions, social information, sounds, scents, lights, agreements between people, social space, music, everything. Just a very intensely aware person. And intensely aware of emotions and social interactions, which is what the skill of empathy helps you understand. So I thought, as a hyper-empath, let me bring what I have learned throughout my life in order to make my life livable, because I don't know if you've met a lot of extremely sensitive people or extremely emotionally aware people. It can be a pretty terrible way to live. It can be a very troubling situation. So I figured out over my lifetime how to make empathy work for me, how to make emotional awareness work for me, and how to make it such that I could go into any environment and be fine and not be overwhelmed and not be, flattened by the emotions of others. So The Art of Empathy is a book that relies on research, but also relies on the lived experience of a person who figured out hyperempathy. I don't know why, it just happened. So we're going to talk about empathy over the next couple of weeks in this video series. And what we're going to look at is the original and first ever, this is strange about empathy, I have developed the first ever model of how empathy works. From the very beginning, when you're aware that something's going on or there's an emotion happening, to the very end, when you have achieved a form of empathy that is supportive, ethical, sustainable, intentional, right? So in this book, I take empathy sort of apart so that we can understand it step by step, and then put it back together so that we can perform our empathy with as much grace and calm and humor and kindness as we can, not only toward other people, but toward ourselves. So as we look at the 6 aspects of empathy in the next series of videos, I want to let you know first that even though I've broken things up into 6 parts, the entire 6-part arc happens in a split second. So it's not as if you're going to have to learn something like, oh my gosh, empathy is so hard. Your empathy works every day, whether you want it to or not. What I've done with this model is help you understand empathy in a more fully cognitive way, because empathy happens so fast that sometimes you don't even have a chance to decide what you're going to do or how you're going to empathize. It just happens. So utilizing these 6 steps will help you identify if your empathy is a little bit lower than you would like. It will help you identify where that is happening and why and what you can do about it. And if empathy is for you, like me, an intense skill that might be overwhelming for you, you can also, break empathy down into the 6 steps and see exactly where it is that your empathy is problematic, and you can fix it. So I welcome you on this journey into the art of empathy. Empathy is a brilliant, necessary skill that all humans share. Many animals have empathy, horses, some primates, dogs, cats. Cats totally have empathy, but they just don't like some people. So we're going to look at empathy as a normal and natural skill. There's nothing paranormal about it at all. And a skill that in healthy development actually arises in its full form at about 18 months to 2 years. So it's not something that you have to work at. It's something that is a part of your birthright. And knowing more about empathy will simply help you be more conscious about it, more intentional, and more able to sustain your empathy over not just a couple of days at work, but over your entire lifespan, so that you can remain empathic no matter what is happening around you. Welcome to the Art of Empathy. I look forward to talking with you.